Surprising. Yeah, such a good player on a hard court. But there's the win in the fourth round against Tsitsipas. That was a huge win for him. As I mentioned earlier, snapped a 23-match loss streak, against top 10 players. Lehechka in the previous round promised a lot, but didn't really deliver. Cerundolo was a break-up in the first, but then Khachanov just could not miss in that quarter-final. It was out on grandstand, though, so this is a change of setting and court and environment. But it'll be interesting to see if Khachanov can elevate his game to the same levels and really test Medvedev.
This will be the fifth meeting, as mentioned. Medvedev holding the 3-1 advantage. Khachanov's only victory coming back in 2018. Medvedev winning the last two, including one at the Masters 1000 event in 2019, north of the border in Canada. And their last meeting this year, Adelaide won in the quarters. Medvedev 3-3.
Yeah, a bit of a humbling there for Khachanov, so he'll be hoping for much better today. And for me, that head-to-head and the recent easy win for Medvedev makes the early stages very important for Karen Khachanov. You know, he's got to start well. He's got to hold serve the first 3-4 times, get to 3-all, 4-all, or better if he can, and really feel like, you know, he's right in this match and he's got a chance of winning. If he falls behind early, he might think, I've just not got the game against this guy. So, you know, important early stages for Khachanov as we see the team of Medvedev. Gilles Savara there in the red cap, of course, is very recognizable coach. What a job he's done. Not always been easy at Daniil's side, but they've had so much success together.
And for a man who was significantly grumpy during his run through Indian Wells, complaining about the courts, the conditions, nothing really working to him, he still reached the final there. He's been a far happier camper in Miami. That might bode well for a push to a fifth straight final. Meanwhile, for Khachanov's camp, look at his coach. Martic has been with Karen for some time, and they too are starting to find a resurgent amount of form to Khachanov's game.
Yeah, and confidence is the key word for him as well. US Open semi-finalist, Australian Open semi-finalist, now in the semis in Miami. The belief is back in the big events and the big matches.
Quarter past 1 p.m. in Miami Gardens for the first semi-final between Daniil Medvedev and Karen Khachanov as they seek a spot into the championship day in 2 days' time. And for Medvedev, a fifth consecutive final on offer in his sixth semi-final of the year. What a run it has been. He's hoping to make back-to-back Sunshine double finals and take one step further and lift the trophy.
Take your seats quickly, please, ladies and gentlemen.
Khachanov won the toss, elected to receive. Medvedev will put the ball in play first.
Daniil
and the fifth chapter of their history, from friends to foes, begins in Miami.
Fair. Love 15. Let's for service. $15.
Early foot fault there from Medvedev. He did have one of those against Eubanks. I think must just occasionally carelessly start with the left foot slightly on the line, because he does move the right foot up, but it doesn't come past the left. It's got to be the left foot touching the line. Monitored by an official via camera at the side of the court, of course. And we saw this against Eubanks as well. Some early double faults, not controlling the ball. Chance here for Khachanov to make a quick start.
Medvedev dropping serve just once in the tournament, but yeah, he really was cold in his quarterfinal against Eubanks. At least from the beginning, the opening 28 minutes. Found himself at 3-2. And there was a 2-hour rain delay, and when he came back, he was red hot.
(30-14).
Well, that's the serve he likes, to the outside. It's also the more erratic wing for Khachanov, the forehand. These players, of course, know each other's games inside out. They've been playing tennis together since they were kids. What a thrill it must be to play each other in such a big match. But of course, all that goes out the window. It's strictly business once they cross the line.
Yeah, just put everything on hold. We'll talk about it later and down the road. Commiserate or celebrate. And an early test for Medvedev. But he survives and on the board first, having saved 8 of 9 break points in Miami. The quarterfinals had been the stopping point for Medvedev previously, now a career best.
Yes, center.
And asking about the potential of the foot, which one's on the double fault kick in the line?
Interesting, it was a foot fault on the center line. So he's starting the service motion with the back foot over the center line on the deuce side. Just something he needs to watch to if he's, as he does, serving from very close to the middle of the court. So it isn't that either foot crossing the baseline, it's the back foot in the other half of the court, which of course isn't allowed during the motion, which includes the start well before he's hit the ball.
Much like his buddy across the net, Khachanov having his best ever Miami, had reached the 3rd round twice, but never beyond until 2023.
I'm sure we're going to see that pattern of play a fair amount. Medvedev returning from very deep in the court. Khachanov in attack. How effective can he be? One of the keys to the outcome of this match.
Tila.
And finish to love for Khachanov. So a good start again to get on the board 1-all. Interesting thing, Colin, curious your thoughts on is, I can't confirm this overall, but we do know this for the 14 seed. First time stepping on a stadium court this tournament, and I dare say I'm not sure he's played on this court ever at the Miami Open. Meanwhile, his opponent obviously has spent quite a bit of time on court. In fact, this is his third of his 4 matches in stadium. Any advantage for Medvedev in that regard?
Yeah, that gives him a slight advantage. Early on, I would say. It's just a different environment, much bigger court space. You know, the actual court dimensions, of course, the same, but, you know, the run back, the sides of the court, Medvedev in particular uses that on the return. Even just the fact that he's got the shadow across the court, you don't get that on any of the other courts here in Miami. But no sign of any troubles in adjusting. Khachanov, he's hitting the ball nicely. Medvedev just able to turn that point around.
Yeah, couldn't quite find confirmation since the tournament moved here in 2019, whether he played in 2019, 2021, or 22 on this stadium court. Was supposed to play his quarterfinal here in Hard Rock Stadium, but of course Wednesday night got rained out. That moved his match with Francisco Cerundolo over to the grandstand yesterday. So thus the reason for his first appearance here inside the big house. Medvedev hitting a rich vein, as both have produced well from the line thus far since facing break point. Medvedev trying to string together 8 in a row.
(40-15). (40-30).
Well, already 5 unforced errors. No winners for Medvedev as of yet, but no damage done. 2 holds for 2-1. And the early stages of this 10-minute contest already getting things heated on semifinal Friday in Miami. Well, he was the man of the hour coming into this tournament, the man to watch. Miami Open champion from a year ago, Carlos Alcaraz, and the 19-year-old has continued to run torrid through the California-Florida swing in March. 10-match win streak as he takes on Jannik Sinner later today. That'll be quite a contest that guarantees to be heated and a thriller, considering their previous encounters.
And as ever, looking very relaxed as he arrives on site. Taking these big matches in his stride now. Fully expect another big performance from Alcaraz later on.
Alcaraz enjoys a 3-2 record against the man he'll meet later tonight, 7 p.m. local time, 2300 GMT. We hope you'll join us for Alcaraz versus Jannik Sinner as the top-ranked Italian looks to make his mark. A semi-finalist in Indian Wells lost to this gentleman in the Final Four, hoping to get revenge now that they both reached the semifinals in Miami. On serve, opening set, Khachanov serving for just a second time. Ran through unblemished in his first offering.
Oh, what a shame. He's just missed the final forehand pass. Medvedev showing all his skills to hang in the point. Great dig there. And then things got really interesting. You have volleys. Khachanov survives. Very interesting. It's a few times off the ground and there on the serve. Khachanov's just giving him no pace whatsoever. That ball barely came through to Medvedev, who's so deep in the court. Maybe just trying to draw him in a little closer to the baseline.
For Taylor. Game.
Khachanov opening up with it, winning his first 8 points from the line, and 2 apiece. Medvedev contesting his 11th Masters 1000 semifinal, 7 times being able to advance to the last day. Looking to make it back-to-back through this run in the United States in March.
Allow 15.
Fault disrupting Medvedev now. Second time in the match.
Well, he settles himself nicely. First winner of the match, first ace yet.
Yeah, the umpire Renaud Liechtenstein seemed to indicate that it was his back foot on this juice side that he was being foot faulted for.
And another put away for 30-15. Yeah, it's almost as if, and you'll pardon the pun, because of the adjustment after the first foot fault, that he's giving himself at least a foot of distance from that center line. We'll have to keep an eye on it.
Well, he's just doubting what he's being foot faulted for. I don't think he's got certainty on that yet in his own mind, and that's the reason he's unsettled slightly. If he knows for sure what the issue is, he just makes an adjustment. Khachanov convinced that one missed.
Let's for service.
You could see there the back foot wasn't across the middle line, and the serve found the target.
No winners in the opening 4 games. He hits 4 in game 5, including 3 aces, and for the 3rd time finds himself out in front.
All right, hey everybody, I'm out in section 112 with 15-year-old Izzy from Bainbridge, Georgia. And here's an opportunity for you to get upgraded to sit closer to the court for the rest of today's session. If you get this trivia question, it's Hilton Island trivia time. Take a look at the video board and let's do this together. If you get it right, you and your whole family are moving closer to the court. Are you ready? Okay, here we go. Take a look at the video board. how many steps to the top of the iconic Harbor Town Lighthouse? Is it A, 58, B, 231, or C, 114? What do you think it is? Is it?
I have to go with C.
You have to go with C. Oh, you're absolutely right. Give her a big round of applause. Izzy and her whole family from Cambridge, Georgia, are moving on up. We're going to be sitting closer to the port next to our friends at Hilton Head Island.
For just the 5th time, Karen Khachanov and Daniil Medvedev meeting, it seemed as if they were destined to have a long storied history between them. 2017, they met in the next-gen ATP finals, Medvedev being able to triumph there. The following year, Khachanov found himself winning the Paris Masters. And of course, Medvedev coming up behind, starting to catch up and keep pace, but then blows right past Khachanov, and they haven't met, but 4 times previously and only once this year, once in the last 4 years. So it hasn't come to fruition, this rivalry. But maybe as Khachanov's level starts to rise, as it has in 2023, they'll meet far more times. The 2nd time this year. It was a humbling experience in Adelaide for Karen as he serves 2-3.
Yet to lose a point on serve. Medvedev just hasn't got to grips with the rhythm of his returning. Well behind in the points where the return is going back into play.
Yeah, they mentioned the Tsitsipas match, and that was such a huge hurdle, both emotionally and to get deep here in Miami, to get past the guy who'd beaten him 6 times. Part of the way Karen went about it was serving well. He won 80% of his service points in that contest. As he starts 11-11 from the line, but it's not as if he overwhelms you with power. I mean, he doesn't ace you off the court. He's only averaging 6.7 aces per match here in Miami, but he does it with precision. Is it precision and mixing it up?
Well, he's got a big serve. It's not the biggest in the game, but he's a tall man. 6'6", sends it down from a good height, good pace, hits all the spots. Very solid behind it. And that's beautiful ball striking on his trusted two-hander.
3 against Seoul.
And Medvedev has yet to take a point off of Khachanov's serve.
Well, as I said, that the foot faults, which Medvedev has been called for a couple of times, are monitored by an official via courtside cameras. There's 2 across the baseline, and there's one right there that's looking down the center of the court to check that back foot isn't crossing the center line. So it's not electronic as the line calling is with the bounce of the ball. There is an official watching those cameras and making the calls.
It is on the deuce side, and we believe it's the initial step of the right foot coming back as he places it down. So obviously on the outside, that's not going to be significant, but now it will be where he places himself, and if he does indeed rock back, that's what Daniil has to be wary of.
You can see here the back foot reasonably close to the middle.
40-11. (40-15). 40-30.
Medvedev trying a bit of fun and games there. I think it's fair to say the lower ranked of these two players, Khachanov has made the more assured start. He seems more certain of what he's doing. Medvedev very close with the lob volley there, just beyond the baseline.
Khachanov's been the sharper of the two, but Medvedev is untroubled, as no danger. Faced a couple of break points in his early first initial offering, but has been cruising since, back out front through 7.
Well, let's just have a look there. Yep, there's one of the foot faults. So it was right at the start of the motion. The back heel just looked like it started on the other side. And it's very, very marginal. But they have to call what they see. There's no problem on the ad side, of course. And I'm sure Medvedev will make just a subtle adjustment. I don't expect the foot fault to be an issue going forward.
Well, however you get there, sometimes you're a bright and shining, extra sharp minister of your game. Daniil Medvedev, more often than not in 2023, has done that. But today, not the sharpest effort, and yet he still finds himself untroubled. 4 for 4 from the line. And looking to force his good friend Khachanov to continually chase him through this opening set. Fourth Masters 1000 semi-final for Karen. In fact, the only time he has won, he went all the way through to win the title. We mentioned his triumph in 2018 at the Paris Masters. Has not won one in 2 tries since.
15 left.
Now, 13 is where the string concludes to start for Khachanov. That's the first point dropped on his serve.
Yeah, and the new balls coming into play can always just shake things up a little. And now it's really starting to shake things up. Medvedev just starting to
15-30.
build some momentum here. Big time. Medvedev was just happy to trade backhands cross court. Khachanov said, time to make something happen. Great change with the backhand and then hammering another forehand winner. 4th of the match.
Out. 40-13.
Medvedev returning much more effectively now. And off the back of it, we're starting to see more elongated rallies. I'm surprised to see Khachanov continue to use that wide serve to the deuce. Medvedev is starting so far back and moving diagonally, backing away from the court to return it. He's given up the maximum amount of court space there. That is the way he likes to play. Just growing into the match, isn't he? Another long point, 24 shots, and for the first time Medvedev getting on the attack and finishing with a winner. He's playing a lot better now than he did in the opening 7 games.
After 3 perfect holds, Khachanov's run into some trouble here. Taking a deuce twice and now facing his first break point.
That's a great effort there from Khachanov. As you see, Yannick Sinner's coach, one of his coaches, Darren Cahill, courtside for this one. He was courtside last night. Or Alcaraz against Fritz scouting. He's scouting this in case Yannick makes the final. Medvedev there, he just couldn't resist going for the smash on the final shot.
Yeah, he's been pretty tolerant through those long rallies, but this time just got a little fidgety. Double digits in unforced errors for this set. May have let Khachanov off the hook. Deuce for a 3rd time. Yeah, that was poorly disguised. There was no doubt about it. Everybody in Hard Rock Stadium knew that was coming.
I think one of the reasons Khachanov hasn't had great success against the top players, just 3 top 5 wins in his career, doesn't like to come in. For me, he had to follow that forehand into the net. But then I agree, Kev, once he didn't, the drop shot was still the wrong choice. Gave the game away.
Second try for Medvedev to seize the outright lead. And not the self-assured effort we saw from Khachanov in his opening 3 service games, where he didn't lose a point. In fact, opened with 13 in a row. But then stumbles mightily at a most inopportune time. More than 8 minutes for Medvedev to procure a 5-3 lead. And he'll serve for a 1-set advantage.
And that's going to be a tough pill to swallow for Khachanov. Just lost his way in that game once Medvedev started making a lot of balls.
Second service.
Clear to me what the plan was. Break point there, just putting balls in court, eventually missing.
Love 15.
I mean, you tennis players have unbelievable memories and the ability to focus and narrow that focus significantly. You think Karen was worried about the fact that he won all those points in a row to begin? It just got in his head a bit. Is that a possibility?
I think what may have hurt him there is the fact that Medvedev hardly made him play on serve. And then suddenly, at 3-4, he's in some long points and he's having to win, different points. And as I say, he just maybe ran out of a few ideas. But Medvedev 0 from 6 on his second serve here, and a chance for Khachanov to strike back.
Yeah, just kind of thinking about the possibility that Khachanov, sort of almost a self-fulfilling prophecy, when you realize, hey, I've won every single point on serve. At some point, I'm going to lose one. And you kind of get a little jumpy. It certainly cost him in the 8th game, whatever the case. Medvedev found the line, much to Khachanov's chagrin.
Let's first service. Third heel.
This is pivotal. Chance for Khachanov to get back in this set. Medvedev's still just 3 points away from taking a 1-set lead, though.
Both of those Khachanov break points coming in the opening game of the match. His first one since.
What a second serve he found there. He's hit 3 doubles. It's the first second serve point he's won.
Thank you.
Well, playing within himself and finding the ways to maneuver past Khachanov. Again, not the sharpest we've seen from Daniil, but just going about his business and finding ways to get him across the line, setting up his initial set point. Second serve has been the vulnerable part of his game. 1 of 7 today. Make it 1 of 8 and back to deuce.
Yes.
Struggle on the serve. 20 of 25 on his first offering, but as mentioned, second serve has been vulnerable.
Advantage, Khachanov.
Beautiful return, so deep in the court, and this time coming in behind that short ball. I think there's an opportunity for more of that for Khachanov.
Right back to business. So after the disastrous stumble and giving up his serve, allowing Medvedev to serve for the set, Khachanov breaks to get back on serve. Opening set turning out to be a doozy in Miami.
Well, that was huge for Karen Khachanov. In terms of staying in this opening set, obviously, but in terms of his psyche, for me, if he loses that set 6-3, having lost 3-3 to Medvedev in Adelaide this January, he starts to think, I've not got it against this guy, my good friend, but breaking there, he is right back in this match now. Important that he comes out, delivers a strong service hold here, get to 5-all, and then it's anyone's set.
Being entertained by these opening 40 minutes. Khachanov, Medvedev, their 5th encounter, and new life for Karen Khachanov. Facing a set point, helped out by his good friend, as Medvedev committed his 4th double fault. And that allows this opening frame to continue on. Yeah, breathing a sigh of relief is the 14 seed, because if Khachanov wasn't able to find his way to break back, he was in dire straits. Has not won a single match this year when losing the opening set. So it is of dire importance for him to push forward, push through.
Love 15.
Well, he's won that point, but for me, he should have been into the net. Had at least 3 opportunities to win the point in a more straightforward fashion. It's a dangerous game to just play Daniil Medvedev from the baseline. That's what he'll do to you,
advice, yeah.
He's just going to suddenly steal the point off you, you know. And again, arguably, Khachanov could have come in off the first forehand had he been looking for it, going for it. It's tough. It's not his game. He's probably not going to suddenly start doing it in a semi-final. But for me, this is why he doesn't have a great record against top players.
All.
11 wins against top 10 players in his career. Khachanov, 4 of those actually came in his run to the title of Paris-Bercy 2018.
Yeah, it's not in abundance, but lest we forget, he had lost 23 straight against the top 10 until a Tsitsipas victory. So as Medvedev said in Indian Wells when he lost, trying to make it 20 match wins in a row, he said streaks are meant to be restarted, and Khachanov, he's hoping that he can get himself in the positive against the upper echelon.
Those 11 wins going up against 41 losses against top 10.
Trying to add a 12th. It would also be a 4th victory over a top 5 opponent if he can get there. Speaking of 5 apiece opening set.
5 games all.
Quite a turnaround for Khachanov, facing a set point. And now on even terms through 10.
Allow 15.
Little run of 8 of the last 10 points. Oh, and that just missed almost 9 of the last 10 for Khachanov. He just gave it a little push.
15 all.
A little too much behind it.
A pretty bizarre drop shot there from Medvedev. I think in his mind he thought he was disguising it very nicely, but it was fairly telegraphed.
30-15.
Ace number 5 of this opening set for Medvedev. That equals, as he's looking for the same ball, I believe. One come out of rotation.
What we expected pre-match. Some long points. Yeah, both these guys incredibly solid from the baseline. Neither really looks to
40-15.
hit clean winners through the opponent that often or come to the net. Medvedev, you just feel starting to get the better of these longer exchanges. Now 8-6 in points over 9 shots.
And Medvedev reclaims the lead after a bit of a slide. Khachanov had gotten the hot hand. But now Karen will have to serve to force a first set tiebreak. We'll have the conclusion of the opening set in semifinal number 1 from Miami coming up.
Energy gels going in for Daniil Medvedev. And it's a warm one. Not as humid though, the dark clouds that we've had for the last few days.
Yes, been pretty tumultuous.
It looks like he's sipping on a pretty sugary drink there as well. Maybe just trying to keep his energy up.
He's played a lot of tennis over the course of the last 2.5 months. It has been an immense amount of work. Medvedev in the hunt as he seeks his first ever final in Miami. Yeah, much more favorable conditions in Miami. The weather is cooperating towards the championship weekend of the second Masters 1000 event of the year in the South Plaza. As I look back across the grounds here of the tennis campus of Miami Gardens. 30 courts in total, 11 put in play for the competition, and the main stadium, Hard Rock Stadium to be specific, first site for Karen Khachanov to compete on this floor during the course of this event, and he's been holding his own rather well. He needs to hold serve one more time to get to a 13th game. Have any shot of taking set number 1, already having saved 1 set point.
15 left.
Just trying to catch Medvedev off balance.
30-15.
Regroups well, and this time he does come forward for a sturdy finish at the net after pulling Medvedev out wide.
40-15.
It's now 7 out of 8 net points won. Again, it's in a situation where the shortness of the ball probably demanded that he came in, but you can see that he has the skill set to do it.
Khachanov has his hold. So Medvedev, who had lost just 17 games in his 6 sets, is taken to a tiebreak for the first time in this Miami Open. Well, Khachanov, as we have continually said over and over again, the fact he's trying to kind of reverse history that has gone against him. He has not taken a single tiebreak off of Medvedev in 4 tries previously. Hoping today is that day.
A 1-0 Medvedev. One all.
There's a fabulous volley for Khachanov. Again, it's the short return. He's willing to come in and in full stretch, just controlling the racket face so well, guiding that ball into the space. Quality tennis.
Sure.
Usually so reliable, that backhand, so sure of himself when he strikes it. That's a big miss. Just to take that up the line and see if Medvedev can give chase. Not to be, remaining on serve through this opening 5 games. It hasn't been as sturdy as he's accustomed. Khachanov today, but he's still in good stead.
Brilliant from Daniil Medvedev. What a return of serve to catch the baseline. I can't help but think that was an opportunity for Khachanov to follow a ball in early in the rally, and once Medvedev got back to neutral, eventually got on top, he made him pay. They're the moments. You know, he has done well coming in 8 out of 9, but mainly on really short balls. Well, that's brilliant from this guy, though.
Without question, his first backhand winner of the set. Strikes true to deliver the mini break.
What a hit. Keeps it to just 1 mini break. Comfortable with the ball. Up a little higher, above waist height. The extreme Western grip that he's got, he can really hit through from that height. Breathing deeply after that one, Medvedev. Another long point, and just the change of speed and rhythm catching him out. This is a test now because he's clearly short on oxygen, and he's got to serve again here at 4-all.
Let's the service. Medvedev.
Maneuvering ever so close to a second break, or second set point, mind you, which he enjoyed back in the 9th game. Medvedev unable to convert. He's had to hang around a little longer than he would initially liked. Khachanov hoping to put that on pause for longer. Medvedev did well to read Khachanov's mind, and that forced the errant forehand.
6-4, Medvedev.
At the risk of sounding like a broken record, can't help but think he could have been at the net again there.
We know where he should have been, don't we? It could have helped his cause better. Instead, he's up against it.
Thank you. Medvedev.
Nope, he got up close, drawn in, and saves the second set point. But now Medvedev will have the chance with ball in hand. Try to see if the third time is indeed the charm. And it's a proper old school tennis duel. A couple of buddies battling it out for a spot in the championship. Well, Medvedev puts himself one step closer. He takes the opening set, 7-6 in the tiebreak. And now in the position where in 2023, he has never lost.
Well, for the first time in the match, Medvedev showing some emotion, and it was positive emotion. He's been all business. Not always the case with this guy, but, you know, he's back. The winning mentality, he's full of confidence. He's going to leave the court here for an outfit change by the looks of things, taking his kit bag. It is a warm one. And he'd be delighted with getting over the line in that opening set. Now knows he just needs one of the next two to make the final for the first time in Miami. A minute on the set break, but that will of course be extended. 3 minutes for the toilet break, 2 more for an outfit change, so it could be a 5 or 6 minute break here. We'll have a look back at the stats while Medvedev leaves the court. An hour and 2 minutes. It was a tough set of tennis. But as the stats show, Medvedev just edging it in the winners. Might not have expected that, but he's subtly up the aggression at times. 10 forehand winners for Khachanov. 9 out of 10 net points won. I feel like that could almost be double the net approaches. Maybe something for Khachanov to look at. Tough for him to really start throwing that in a big semi-final though. Medvedev struggled on his second serve. He lost the first 6 points he played on his second deal. He then won 4 of the next 6, so he's made a good recovery there. Khachanov won 75% of his second serve points, but Medvedev won the tiebreak.
Daniil Medvedev has left the court. They are going to extend the break that normally occurs between sets, and it gives us a chance to remind you that if tomorrow you get the opportunity, join us. 12 p.m. local time, 16:30 GMT. The doubles championship will be tomorrow. We'll update you, of course, tonight, 7 p.m. Alcaraz and Sinner, as they will contest the second semifinal. But we do invite you to join us tomorrow for the doubles final, if you can. Once again, 12:30 in Miami, 16:30 GMT, as Gonzalez and Roger Vasselin will take on Krajicek and Mahut, each seeking their... Well, the champions of Marseille, Gonzalez and Roger Vasselin, are hoping for their first ever Masters 1000 title. Nicolas Mahut, 7 times champion of a Masters 1000 event. So that is the men's doubles championship tomorrow. Yeah, it's a pretty good record overall. It's a battle of a couple of 40-year-olds and a couple of 30-somethings in that contest. Gonzalez and Roger Vasselin, they were Indian Wells runners-up last year. It's the first final ever for Krajicek and Mahut.
Yeah, always a special occasion. Doubles and singles final, Masters 1000 level. Look at that beautiful blue skies. That's what we're talking about. The Sunshine Double, that's the kind of skies we expect.
Well, going from the Golden State to the Sunshine State, it has been missing the last couple of days. There was some pretty soggy, wet weather that threatened to impact the progress of this tournament. Everything is back on schedule now after they had to move a couple of the quarterfinals to yesterday's schedule. But all in all, it's looking to shape up extremely nice and back into the reason why this is affectionately known as the Sunshine State in South Florida. This is the South Plaza.
I've got to be honest, Kev, you know, you make your home in MIA. I'm a little annoyed at you for some of the rain we've had this tournament. You know, I think you could have done a better job there.
You give me far too much credit, partner. I have no connections. Mother Nature never returns my call. And everybody else, I tried to get them to seed the clouds. They wouldn't do that. So, yeah, I've come up very short, and I apologize for that. But it's becoming more of a party atmosphere once again. Everybody's starting to get excited as this day unfolds. Semifinal Friday, and a chance to see Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner tonight in their contest as they clash for a 6th time, hoping it'll be something reminiscent of their meeting at the U.S. Open last year. That exceptional, thrilling 5-set match in the semifinals, or excuse me, quarterfinals of the U.S. Open. $65,000 strong when the Hard Rock Stadium is packed for NFL football. It's been host to a number of national championship games at the NCAA level, as well as numerous Super Bowls. It was opened back in 1987 at a cost of $115 million. In 2019, it became the home of the Miami Open after owner Stephen Ross, who owns Hard Rock Stadium and the grounds around it, and the Miami Dolphins, said he wanted to help out the cause. The tournament could no longer sustain itself in Crandon Park, which is extremely unfortunate. I know that was a favorite for you, Colin, but just there was no room for growth, and so they had to find a new location. There was a threat that it might go up to Orlando, where the USTA's national campus is, but Stephen Ross came in to save the day and keep it in the Miami area, and providing this unique setting that is a stadium within a stadium.
Yeah, and I feel like the tournament really starting to grow into its still relatively new home here at the Hard Rock Stadium. Of course, interrupted by the COVID-19 pandemic. 2021, this stadium wasn't actually used. It was the grandstand was the main court with no fans. Fans then returned last year, and of course again this year, and you really feel like now it can start to, or continue to kick on and continue to go into this new home. The home of the Miami Dolphins there, of course.
And not only home of NFL football, but the Miami Open, but also, lest we forget, May 7th, the Grand Prix comes back to town, Formula One racing here at what it becomes the Miami International Autodrome. Grounds outside, including some of the course that were used for this Miami Open, are turned into speedster race course.
Yeah, and we know Carlos Alcaraz, who'll be in action tonight, is now a big Formula One fan. In fact, he signed the camera a couple of matches ago. You remember, 33 soon. That turned out to be a message to Fernando Alonso, the Spanish driver, who's in hunt and in the mix for his 33rd race win of his career. So, yeah, the F1 taking place near here very soon. But right now, it's Medvedev back on court, fresh clothes, fresh wristband, it looks like. In fact, fresh out the packet. And we'll be back to action soon.
Still hasn't dropped a set, Medvedev, and now, although tested the most significantly by anyone thus far through his Miami Open run this year, he now puts himself in the enviable position where he has enjoyed perfect success. 23-0 this year when winning the opening set.
Yeah, and interesting to see Medvedev going with the brand new wristband out of the packet. I've got to be honest, I always like them to be washed a few times.
See, you want them a little used.
Extra absorption. I know some people like the brand new soft towels. I prefer them, you know, used a little, a bit rattier.
Do you throw a couple of those sheets in the dryer too to just add the extra softness?
I think that's just an American thing.
Okay. Andre Agassi used to love that. He'd throw 3-4 those static cloths into the dryer to get that extra freshness and softness. Khachanov starts off with his first double fault of the match as he tries to come back from a set down. We talked about Medvedev's perfection this year with his 23 wins against no losses when enjoying a one-set lead. It has been a far cry from that for Karen.
Out. 15-0.
0-5 this year in the current position he finds himself, having dropped that tie-break set. So everything seemingly stacked up against Khachanov as he tries to mount the comeback.
Out. 30-15. T15.
Now seemingly rebounding well from that initial double fault as he starts to make his way towards a hold. At least what he hopes for sure. This would reestablish some mental resolve.
40-30.
It doesn't want to cough up serve here. This would just be a death knell for Khachanov. And as we continue the book on his history and how much he has suffered from his currently position. That'll get the job done, and he's on the board first as he tries to rewrite history for this season when dropping the opening set, as well as for his career in ATP semifinals. He's never won in 9 tries a match when down a set in a semifinal appearance.
Yeah, that's not good news for Khachanov, but good news for both of these players coming out of southwest London today. And the All England Club have decided that Russian and Belarusian players can compete again at the championships, Wimbledon, this summer, so these two will be back in action on the grass.
Does that also mean points are on offer again?
Points will be back on offer, I believe. ATP and WTA Tours on board with that decision from the All England Club. So back to points on offer.
Love 15.
And Medvedev maybe just not back fully focused on court here. It was a fairly lengthy delay. It must have been 7-8 minutes in total to change and come back, and sometimes that just disrupts your rhythm.
Love 13. In 30.
Precisely what Khachanov tried to accomplish early in the opening set. In fact, it was the initial game Medvedev faced a couple of break points, but wasn't able to convert. Finally did so to break back in game 9. And Khachanov this time makes good on the threat as he breaks Medvedev for 2-love.
Khachanov leads 2 games to love.
Truth be told, Medvedev did not help his own cause, throwing in another double fault, a couple of errors. So, lackluster start to set 2 for the 4 seed. That could put some wind in Khachanov's sails.
Left.
Yeah, I sometimes wonder about players leaving the court when they're in the ascendancy. Obviously a plan for Medvedev is a hot day. He was sweating a lot. Looks to be taking a lot of sort of sustenance on board, the energy gels that sugary drinks and stuff, wanted that break, but you just wonder, had he stayed on the court, just, you know, kept the momentum and not allowed Khachanov a chance to sort of cool off emotionally, mentally, resettle. Good things have been different in these 3 games, but it looks as if it's going to be Khachanov taking a 3-love lead.
And Medvedev's struggle is real. Khachanov taking full advantage of a slow start. 12 of the first 15 points for the 14 seed. More importantly, all 3 games to begin set number 2.
Just a fascinating insight here from the team at Hawkeye. You see that Khachanov first serve placement. He is spreading it around the box a fair amount, using more of that wide serve to the juice court 60% of the time. And look at the distance. That's the return contact points on average for Daniil Medvedev. There's over 8 meters between the 2 balls. In fact, that contact point for the wide serve is 9 meters from the center of the court, which is where he usually has to recover to after the return. It really is quite incredible that the positions on the court where he returns from. Got him over the line in the first set, but he needs to find a break if he's to recover this second. Khachanov with the advantage.
For a man who's been so dominant when winning an opening set and the turn to try to get through to the championship day for the 5th consecutive event, it has been a slow start for Daniil Medvedev in set number 2. He has as many points as Khachanov has games in the second set, just 3 to his side of the net. I can't help but think after he left the court for more than 9 minutes to change out his kit and just take a moment to pause. If the wear and tear of the last 6 weeks, maybe it's just having an effect on Daniil and his reserves today. Playing his 24th match over the course of this remarkable run into his 5th consecutive semifinal. Began in Rotterdam. Continued through Doha and Dubai, and back across all the way to Southern California, Indian Wells, and then across the U.S. to Miami. A lot of time put in Sky Miles as well as the effort he's put on court. He looks a bit beleaguered at this juncture.
Fully expect Medvedev to knuckle down from here. No chance he'll be giving up on this set. Remember, it's just 1 break.
And we saw it in his quarterfinal against Eubanks. He really seemed flat, just didn't have any pep, no energy. Struggled through the initial 28 minutes. Was able to keep up with Eubanks and actually was about to serve at 2-3 when the rains came, and that 30-minute break really seemed to rejuvenate him. As Medvedev gets the hold to get on the board for the first time. Yeah, he ran off the last 4 games of the opening set. Took a 2-1 lead in the second and never surrendered the rest of the way to Eubanks. As you mentioned, Colin, so important. 3-1 looks sizable, but it's only a single break. Gets into Khachanov's serve here. Could find relief.
Left. 15.
I do feel as if Medvedev, if he just gets back to the level he played from 4-3 onwards in the first set, he'll get a chance at some stage to recover the break. Getting into a lot of return points. Khachanov definitely controlling proceedings so far in this second set. For the match, they're fairly equal percentage of time spent in attack, but Khachanov 32-21 second set.
Nifty touch from Medvedev as he's drawn forward. He delivers a sweet touch.
30.
Yeah, a little bit of sauce here from Daniil Medvedev. Soft hand, just working the racket inside the ball and starting to build something here.
Khachanov's done well to protect his serve overall. Did have the one break at 4-3 in the opening set. There were two break opportunities in that game for Medvedev. That is the only peak that Daniil has had. Karen's serve. In fact, it's the only service game Khachanov has been taken to deuce. Until now.
Yes.
Look to the sky there. He knows with this backhand miss that just allowing Medvedev into the game.
Let's for service.
What a combination. And what movement from Medvedev to start from the return position and get back in.
He's probably covered about 9-10 meters after the return to get to the ball. Khachanov maybe just not quite doing enough with the approach or the volley, but that's quality from Medvedev.
His 11th forehand winner, produces his 3rd break point. Khachanov has the answer.
Deuce.
There's the forehand. Closer to the sideline this time round.
Game, Khachanov.
And another threat extinguished by Khachanov. Back to business, trying to extend it to a 3rd set. An impressive effort from the 14th seed.
Well, a mini test pass there for Khachanov, but there's no doubt Medvedev back in the match now, re-engaged. Plenty of energy and smiles amongst fans inside the Hard Rock Stadium. They'll be hoping for a 3rd set.
Yeah, try to get their money's worth, huh? Semi-final number 1. I hope set the tone for this glorious day. So many eager to see Alcaraz versus Sinner, but lest we forget, Medvedev, Khachanov, they're trying to find a spot in Sunday's final. Peek at these two as they tussle for this 2nd set, and right now Karen Khachanov enjoying the 4-1 lead puts him in good stead. Medvedev still find that next level, that next gear we're accustomed to seeing from him. Medvedev serving for a 9th time. Just cracking a winner. There was no way he was going to recover if that came back, so he made sure it didn't.
Huge strides. Just a rocket down the line. These guys, yeah, they're tall men. They're both 6'6". I would say Medvedev is marginally the better mover of the two. A little more agile, cover the ground with some bigger dynamic strides.
30-15.
Saying Khachanov's a bad mover, but it's one of the strengths of Medvedev.
He relies on it so often, both from attacking positions as well as playing defense.
40-15.
And making quick work of the 6th game. Not messing about.
Game, Medvedev.
Aces number 7 and 8 for the day.
Khachanov
exceeds the total. I mean, he didn't produce a lot of aces getting into this semifinal. In fact, the most he had was 5 against Eubanks yesterday, and that was just muy rápido to close the gap to 4-2.
$15 left. $30 left. $40 left. Game.
Back-to-back aces, numbers 2 and 3 on the day for Khachanov. Gets him in good position to try to accomplish much in his first trip to Hard Rock Stadium. Coming inside the big house, looking to send it the distance in a deciding third set. A good bit of composure from Khachanov as he finds his way through the threat in the previous service game of break point. Did not waver, and then a very sturdy hold to get to 5-2.
It just shows you how important the start of sets are. You know, I always feel the momentum is on the line. We saw that last night, Alcaraz and Fritz. Alcaraz breaking Fritz in the first game of both sets, and American never really recovered, and Khachanov done a good job here of just shutting out Medvedev. Looks as if he's going to be able to take it to a decider. And then the start of the third set will be very important.
Not a position he's been in the 2023 Miami Open. Speaking of Daniil Medvedev and where he currently rests, in danger of dropping a set for the first time. Never really tested, never really threatened to even be in this position at all through his first 3 matches, dropping 17 games in total over the course of the 6 sets played. But his good buddy from way back in their junior days, Khachanov, has posed a significant threat. Medvedev serving to stay in the set.
$15 left.
Did rip through his last service game with a couple of aces and quickly picked up a second hold. See if he can channel that, or will he fall in danger as he did to start this set when he was broken for a 2-love lead for Khachanov.
$15.
26th unforced error for Daniil Medvedev. Definitely not at his best so far. We've seen him in the past go full matches in single digits, low single digits sometimes, unforced.
Well, taking case in point against Alice 28 winners, 8 unforced errors. In fact, he was coming into this match plus 28 winners to errors for the tournament.
And the unforced errors, you know, it's a very raw stat, isn't it? I mean, it's heavily influenced by the matchup. Naturally, Medvedev will hit less unforced against Alice because the Frenchman is going so big. He's playing short points, less chance to miss, right?
Sure.
They're having long points here.
Agreed.
Expect a few more, but I still think he's been off his best stuff.
Yeah. Concur on all accounts. It's just there has been just a base level that Medvedev usually even starts at that he's still trying to make sure he can keep throughout. Ebbing and flowing back and forth. And he gets the hold. It wasn't as easy as his last effort, but you know what? It's about posting the numbers, and he's got his third.
Khachanov leads 5 games to 3.
And still, it's just the single break there. Khachanov can ill afford to pull off the gas. Khachanov serving consistently throughout the tournament, winning 72% of his service points today.
There's an example of where Medvedev just hasn't quite been dialed in. Looking for that long diagonal deep into the corner just to neutralize the point. Dragged it slightly wide. And again there,
30
late on the forehand. He was just looking to go back in behind Khachanov there. He wasn't necessarily hoping for a winner. This man's managing the match well though. No mistakes here. 2 points away from leveling us up.
And he's turning it on just at the right time. When he was facing break point back in the 5th game, he has now put together 10 in a row. Make it 11, and they're going 3. A third set awaits. He'll drag Medvedev the distance as the first spot in the championship match in 2 days' time will be decided in a best-of-1 set format.
Well, a great effort there from Khachanov. Medvedev, remember, left the court after the first set. He was gone for a good 7 or 8 minutes, changed clothes, came back. Slow start to the set. Khachanov capitalized getting the break, but then he also saw at the set impressively. Both players just coming to the net once. A few errors from Medvedev, 8 in total. Khachanov finishing with that positive ratio, 8 winners to 5 unforced errors. He played a good solid set. You'd expect Medvedev to start the decider a lot more strongly. Khachanov hardly lost points on serve. In fact, he only lost 6 in total, 2 on the first serve, 4 on the second. One break was all it took early in that second set, and now we are into a one-set shootout for our first finalist.
Getting ready for the start of the third set that will decide who will be the first finalist in the 2023 Miami Open. The second match today features this man, Italian #1, Jannik Sinner, as he takes on Carlos Alcaraz, the man who beat him in the Final Four just a couple weeks ago in Indian Wells. He's back for a bit of revenge as he tries to get back to his second Miami final.
Yeah, sixth meeting between the two at tour level. Alcaraz leads the head-to-head 3-2. In fact, Alcaraz has won all three of their hard court meetings, Sinner winning one on clay, one on grass. This man, against Andrei Rublev this week, put in one of the performances of the week. So if he can reproduce that, you certainly give him a chance tonight.
Right in front of the stands that will be here for the F1 racing when they turn into the Miami International Autodrome. It's Sinner who has sped through the draw without dropping a single set, as he hopes to find a way to defeat the world #1. Again, that's later tonight, 7 p.m. local time Miami, 2300 GMT. Set number 3 underway. Medvedev at the line first. Different story set to set, of course. Obviously a tiebreak in the opening set. That went 62 minutes. The 9 games of the second set recorded officially at 39. But 9 of those minutes was that delay of Medvedev leaving the court, which seemed to pull him off of the run that he was enjoying. I mean, it took away all the momentum he had in taking that opening set.
I just have a feeling, an instinct here that Khachanov is the slightly fresher of the two players. You know, Medvedev's done an awful lot of winning, but to do that, you've got to play an awful lot of tennis. Khachanov bouncing around on the baseline. And that is just magnificent ball striking. Two-handed backhands don't come much better. Taking the ball on the rise and changing direction, really throwing Medvedev around the court.
Well, just putting that in context of what you're speaking of, I can't help but think it's just been how much tennis they have played and the disparity between the two. And they both played the Australian Open. Khachanov getting through to the semifinals. Medvedev falling in the third round. Sebastian Korda. In the time since, this is just the 8th match for Khachanov. It's the 24th for Medvedev.
Colossal tennis. Brilliant attacking play down the lines of both wings. That backhand gave him control. Forehand was equally impressive, and moving forward to finish. It's great stuff from Khachanov.
Medvedev broken just once in his initial 3 rounds, in danger of being broken for the 3rd time today by Khachanov.
And just to go back to that point, Kev, you know, that has to be relevant here. That Medvedev has played, well, 3 times as many matches in recent weeks, and you know, this is a physical contest in isolation on a hot day in Miami. Not as humid as it has been, but it's not like it's sort of a dry heat. You know, there is humidity still there. Khachanov trying to forge an early break here. And that might be the way for Medvedev, just subtly stepping up to the baseline, taking a bit of risk with the backhand down the line, and you know, just looking to dictate a few more of the points.
Again, Medvedev.
He's done very well to hold serve there. Comes to an early test in the decider. Well, we know how good the Khachanov's backhand is, the two-hander. His forehand can be a little more erratic, but he also goes for it. Goodness me, he's hit it well in this match. Forehand quality so far 9.4 out of 10, a measure of the speed, spin, accuracy, the impact it's having on Medvedev. He's hit 17 forehand winners to just 5 unforced off that wing. Really is having a day on his forehand.
$15 now. $15.
Little more sense of urgency in the striking from Daniil Medvedev here to begin, and the court position stepping into the court to be able to deliver that backhand blow. Just his 2nd winner from that side, and hopefully it's starting to turn the tide in his mind for those longer exchanges.
Well, he's often referred to as a sort of chess grandmaster on the tennis court. He's making a slight adjustment here, you feel. Still very deep on the return, but watch for him trying to get up to the baseline as the baseline exchange unfolds.
Serio.
That's the way for Khachanov.
40-13.
See, there was just a decision that he made there. Okay, I'm going. And it was the right one. Nice finish on the high volley.
And quality, and again, just showing his resolve. Khachanov delivers a big forehand to secure the hold for 1-all.
Well, we saw the forehand shot quality. This is 19th forehand winner. It might just be the best of the lot. 94 miles per hour. What a hit.
Double digits in the ace category for Medvedev. That's the most that he has thrown down in a single match, besting his quarterfinal total of 9 against Eubanks. Yeah, not sure if it's just the fact that there's so much riding on this third set for both, or just in watching it. Khachanov seems fully engaged. It's Medvedev who just seems to be moving a little more fluidly, a little more back to his old self. It's a quality hold to get to 2-1, so he's performing well. 7 straight points on serve after facing a break point. And this should be exciting. Nip and tuck, a one-set, third set to decide who moves through the championship match on Sunday. Yeah, it's interesting, the dichotomy between these two semifinals. A 1 p.m. local start for semifinal number 1, and then just before sunset, 7 p.m. tonight, Alcaraz and Sinner. Obviously on a Friday, people getting off work, still trying to find their way. Tonight should be absolutely electric, as this match has started to play itself into something that's starting to really pique some interest, get people engaged. I hope you're enjoying, tennis fan. Set number 3 continues on serve, no breaks. Only 1 break point faced in the initial game by Medvedev, which he cast aside, and then just held to love.
Allow 15.
He has to maintain his forward progress, his momentum, the positivity. Khachanov, as we have described a few times, suffering at this stage in his career. Semifinals have not been Khachanov's friend. Granted, he's picked up 4 titles and did win a Masters 1000 crown, but he's just 6-12 when reaching the Final Four at this level. And after he began 4-2, that was all cruising along. He was doing very well at one point, but he has lost 10 of his last 12, including 4 in a row. That have been elongated are starting to go Medvedev's way.
The psychological
15-13.
and indeed physical arm wrestle there at that point. Who was going to miss? Who was going to, get impatient? It was Khachanov, and just pulled the backhand wide as we click into our 3rd hour.
Second longest rally of this match, just by 1 extra stroke. But yeah, that's where all of that psychological aspect starts to come into play for Khachanov. The aforementioned struggle in the semis. The battle against Medvedev, the pressure of trying to seize the moment and move past a good friend into one of the biggest finals of your career. It can get heavy. Khachanov breaks himself. A trio of unforced errors, and he gives away his serve. And for Medvedev, he's been just waiting for a moment to seize it all and try to run away.
Well, the break came with the 29 shot. Psychological battle at 15-all, didn't it? Khachanov never really recovered. 2 points later, he's a breakdown, and a good recovery here for Medvedev after losing the second. And he's in a winning position now for a place in his first ever Miami final.
Let's for service.
11th ace, followed by a 6th double fault. This is the quizzical way sometimes by Daniil Medvedev.
It's a role reversal. Not quite as long a rally, but this will have taken something out the legs of Daniil Medvedev. You know, has to come to the line at 15:30 and try and get out of this position.
Steady on. $40-30.
And a dozen aces on the day, and Medvedev offers himself further separation in what will be the deciding set to see who faces either Jannik Sinner or the defending champion Carlos Alcaraz in the final.
Oh, what a contrast there. As I say, similar situation at 15:30 with the server, you know, a little out of gas and under pressure. Khachanov just couldn't recover. Two pretty quick points and he was broken. Medvedev, how impressive was that? Puts a bit of breathing space between him and his good friend now. Yeah, he's suddenly just 2 games away.
Beautiful view from overhead of Hard Rock Stadium. This unique tennis stadium inside a gridiron football stadium. It shrinks down from the 65,000 plus that can fill it when the Miami Dolphins play their football here, or the University of Miami Hurricanes, who make their home here as well. And then it just becomes somewhat intimate, if you can, 15,000 seat tennis stadium. And it'll be rocking this weekend, expecting a full capacity. Not a bad little showing today on the first of 2 semifinals on a Friday. Approaching the bottom of the 3 p.m. hour. The clock is ticking on Karen Khachanov. Things have started to slip away from him as Medvedev has seized control of the longer rallies. Has been serving well. No room for error for Khachanov here.
15. 30 love.
Quarter century of winners now. And that two-hander is in full flow. It's something to behold. Just clubs the ball.
Yeah, this is a quality response since being broken in the previous effort and knowing that his back is literally against the wall. Khachanov has to put up or to be packing up, but not to be. A hold to love. 26 winners on the day for Khachanov. He was averaging 18 for the tournament coming in, so he had to elevate his level against the 4 seed. Medvedev, since facing break point in the initial game, has won 11 of his last 13 from the line. If he continues in that vein, book him a spot in the final.
Well, we talked about the subtle adjustment for Medvedev. Here he is again, just stepping up, getting that ball at the apex, and attacking.
Out. 40 love.
And he's found the feeling. Serving exceptionally well down the stretch.
Again, Medvedev.
And now sets a season high in total aces for the match. 13.
Medvedev leads 5 games to 2.
And 14 of his last 16 from the line has him oh so close. He's feeling it. A shot at his first final in Miami.
Well, how about that for a service game? Maybe his most dominant of the match. Khachanov just one more chance now to get the break back. Medvedev continues to take on board the sustenance. He really has been making sure he's keeping the energy levels up. Part of playing in Miami, Florida, you've got to manage the conditions.
Yeah, even with the one less match because of the walkover against Molchan, he still seems taxed. He will relish the fact that if he does get through this match, that he'll have tomorrow off. But the work's not done yet. The semifinal isn't concluded. One game separates him from moving through to his 5th consecutive final. Pretty astonishing what Daniil Medvedev is trying to do, what he's already accomplished even, as he finds himself Rotterdam, Doha, Dubai, Indian Wells, and now Miami. Semifinal appearances or better in all of those events, and the previous 4, he went through to the championship day. Looking to reach the final in both bookends of the Sunshine Double, and it's just one game that separates him. Looking to break here, get off the court, prepare for either Alcaraz or Sinner, as Khachanov serves to prolong his stay.
15 left.
Well, he got there eventually. A wry smile from Khachanov. We saw the full array of defensive skills from Daniil Medvedev. And the end of this point, like a game of chicken. Medvedev pretending to go, stopped, eventually went. Yeah, his good friend just rolled it in behind him.
Game. Khachanov.
Another terrific effort. That's 2 consecutive holes to love since being broken. That sole break. The difference here in this deciding set. The hot hand from the line for Khachanov, only matched by that of Medvedev. He held to love in his last effort.
Players are ready. Thank you. Thank you.
Serving to book himself a spot in his 8th Masters 1000 final.
Great second serve. Lost his first 5 second serve points of the match, remember. He's really recovered since then. Won 6 out of 8 in set 3.
Just a remarkable settling of his nerve and control of his serve. That's Medvedev.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Looks to seal the deal in Miami. And what a way to finish.
Medvedev. 7-6.
Back to good friends again.
6-3.
Sincere congratulations for a terrific run for Karen Khachanov in Miami. But the day belongs to Daniil Medvedev. Beleaguered but unbowed, the winning ways continue for Daniil Medvedev as he wills himself to a 5th consecutive final and his first at the Miami Open. 6-3 in the 3rd, and it ended fittingly, Colin, with that little tussle at the end, another long exchange between them. But when it mattered most today, Medvedev just too good.
Yeah, certainly the case. He lost his way a little at the start of the 3rd after winning the first set, leaving the court. Khachanov played a good match, a great tournament for him. Projected to rise to 11 in the world rankings. He's knocking on the door of that top 10 again. But just came up a little short against his good friend in that deciding set. Medvedev turned the screw. Brilliant point to finish. And it's now a case of Medvedev. He's got to go and rest, recover. He's got a day off tomorrow. What a run of form he's putting together post-Australian Open. 5th final in a row, as you said. And not exactly small tournaments either. 2 of them at 500 level, 1 250, now 2 Masters back-to-back finals. The first time he's made the Miami final. And Daniil Medvedev is back amongst the very elite players in the game.
23 of his last 24 matches, improving to 28-3 for the season. Medvedev puts his signature on a terrific performance. Again, beleaguered, but he just would not lay down. And here are the numbers from that 2-hour-plus exchange.
Well, it was a real battle, and the stats will show that. 30 winners apiece. The Khachanov forehand was huge today. 20 winners coming off that wing. A few more unforced for Medvedev, but partly due to his performance in the second set when he lost his way a little. Khachanov came in 14 times, Medvedev 11. I do feel Khachanov can continue to add that to his game. Ability to come in a little more often and finish some points, take the game to his opponents at times. But he did, as I say, put in a good tournament, a good performance here. Medvedev, 55% of second serve points won in the end. He struggled initially, but a good recovery there, one of the keys for him. Both players broke twice. Such a tight first set tiebreak. But there's no doubt Medvedev dominated and deserved to win that final set. And he is through to the final.
He has been the master of hard courts of late. Nobody's won more matches or more titles the last 5 years than Daniil Medvedev on this surface. What will he have left in the tank when he takes the court in 2 days' time? His 5th consecutive final. And pick your poison. What do you want? Do you want a shot, a rematch of the Indian Wells final? If he goes up against Carlos Alcaraz, he is 1-1 against the Spaniard, winning in 3 on the grass courts of Wimbledon 2 years ago, but losing that final just 2 weeks ago to Alcaraz. Or do you want the guy you've beaten 5 times in a row, including the Rotterdam final, which begat these 5 straight finals?
Well, he would just be delighted to be through to the final. And worth noting, he's now made the final of all hardcourt Masters 1000s and both the Grand Slams on this surface. I'm sure he'd like a rematch with Alcaraz, but he's got that great record against Jannik Sinner.
Yeah, 5-0 against the Italian. As mentioned, beat him in the Rotterdam final, coming back from a set down, and that started this dramatic and very impressive run of late that has just been a torrid February and March for Medvedev.
Yeah, and I feel like that might have been the kind of match that last year, post-Australian Open, he could have lost. But now, just with the confidence back, the belief in his game, you just saw the way he turned the screw in the deciding set and made it his. That's the Medvedev we know.
Yeah, and the change, of course, that he hadn't dropped a set coming in. Really had just kind of wandered through the draw a little bit. Those 6 sets, I mean, Eubanks took him to a 7-5 second set. But this one might have just been the alarm clock to sort of wake him up and make sure he's ready for championship day. So souvenirs have been deposited to the fans courtside. Daniil will gather his stuff and his thoughts, and we will hear from him in a moment as to what he thinks. Always very thoughtful in how he breaks down matches he just competed in. Asking him the questions, Ersin Kandaris.
Daniil, congratulations on your first ever Miami Open final. A psychological battle today at times and good recovery after losing that second set.
Yeah, in my opinion, it was a top match. First set where we lost our serves. In my opinion, it was just a good game from the returner. Yes, I made a double fault on a set point, but, well, we can make double faults sometimes. And second and third set, I had one bad game. He wins the set. I didn't have any look. I know I had one break point. She could have done better, but whatever. Again, in my opinion, that was a top match. He had a break point in first game in the third set. I managed to play well. He had one bad game in the third set. I managed to take it, and really happy to be through. Very tough match.
And this is your 5th final in a row on the ATP Tour this year. This is the year of Daniil Medvedev.
Yeah, I think I made 6 in 2019, so I have some margin, and it's a pity it's clay season after. I'm gonna try, but yeah, it's definitely a pity. But really happy with my results so far. But it's not over. Final here on Sunday, and I have to be at my best to try to win it.
You reckon you can win this one, either Alcaraz or Sinner?
I have to believe in myself. I know that I'm capable of winning big titles. I know that I can play well. I can beat anybody. For sure, Carlos is on fire right now, but someone at one moment, you cannot win 100 matches in a row. You can win maybe 40 or 45, whatever Novak did. But at one moment, somebody is going to put the water on this fire. It might be Sinner today, it might be me Sunday, it might be someone else next tournament. But you have to believe in yourself, you have to try your best, play your best tennis. I'm going to enjoy that match and prepare for the winner.
We look forward to seeing you again on Sunday. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
8th career Masters 1000 final. He's already won titles in Shanghai, the Canada Masters, Cincinnati, and Paris. He will go for a 5th and try to capture Miami amongst all of those. It will be his chance in 2 days' time. So Medvedev will collect his thoughts and now all his stuff, get off court, start preparing for the winner of Alcaraz Sinner. That match coming later today, 7 p.m. local time, 2300 GMT. We hope you'll join us for that. And as we look ahead towards that match, we say for the 2nd tournament in a row, we have a semifinal featuring Alcaraz and Sinner. In California, it was the Spaniard who came out on top. But how are they both feeling ahead of the rematch?
He makes me a better player. I won against him on grass. I won against him on clay. I think we both feel good here on these courts. I saw him playing, he is moving very, very fast.
Sinner is a great opponent. I have to play at this level or even better, to get through the semi-final. I never think that my level is enough to win a tournament. As I said, I try to improve every match, every day, and let's see how it's going.
Carlos winning 3 of their 5 previous matches, including the aforementioned Indian Wells semifinal. He's readying himself, the man to beat in Miami, riding a 10-match win streak through this tournament, going back to last season, and calling a 10-match win streak through the Sunshine Double.
Yeah, and just the way he goes about his business is so great to watch. I can't remember the last time we saw the pictures of this guy on a tennis court and we didn't see a smile at some stage. He just loves it. Even here, he's just practicing his return. He's so engaged. Every ball he's hitting, he's trying to maximize the opportunity. Every match he plays is the same. And, win, lose, or draw tonight, he's going to be focusing on that performance. He's going to look to raise his game again, as is Sinner. A huge respect between the two. And I think it's going to be a fantastic 2nd semi-final. Can't wait for it.
Yeah, it was getting through the top American, Carlos Alcaraz. Taylor Fritz was his opponent, and that was yesterday in his quarterfinal. And for Alcaraz, he knew against the top 10 player and a chance to get through. Fritz tried to test him early, but in the end, Alcaraz able to pull through. Match point just shut down the threat from the number 10 player in the world. A hole to love, and that makes it 10 in a row for Alcaraz through the Sunshine Double. Last year's Indian Wells champion succumbing to this year's champion in Indian Wells. Well, Taylor Fritz had some interesting comments to make at the conclusion of his match to Alcaraz. It was a tough defeat for him, but in the end, Taylor said the Spaniard at times is virtually unplayable.
I did feel like the level of the first 3 games was absolutely unbearable. He was hitting clean winners off of 110-mile-an-hour second serves. I was hitting into his body, and I'm stepping up and crushing backhands cross, and he's going open stance backhand line winners off of it. And yeah, that wasn't the level for the rest of the match. I was able to settle in much more, and he wasn't doing that the whole match. But it was if he obviously possesses that level, and it was. Yeah, for those first couple games, it was pretty overwhelming.
Yeah, it seems to be the consensus when facing Carlos Alcaraz. It is overwhelming, and it can be a full onslaught and assault. But unless you're Jannik Sinner, you have to also take a bit of positivity away from it. One, he's been able to beat Alcaraz a couple of times in their 5 meetings. But for Jannik, he has fond memories of Miami, reaching the final 2 years ago.
Yeah, he certainly does. There's no doubt he likes these conditions. And I don't think he's been at his best in every match this week, but as we mentioned before, the performance against Rublev was breathtaking tennis. It's a different match tonight. Rublev plays, with power predominantly from the baseline. Alcaraz, we know, is just an all-court, player. He can hurt you from anywhere. He's so complete. He can defend as well. Sinner will know this is, along with Djokovic, as tough a test as you get in the sport at the moment. But I think he'll be looking forward to it. Comes in good form. It's a semi-final. It's the kind of match he wants to be playing.
Back-to-back semifinals of the Sunshine Double, and as mentioned, this will be the 6th chapter between these two, as the win in Indian Wells gave Carlos Alcaraz that extra thing. But Sinner knows he's been able to beat him. He got him in the final of an UMAG, and he's also challenged him. How about that memorable, epic 5-setter at the U.S. Open last August?
It was just an incredible match, and one that really caught people's eyes. The future of this rivalry, but the future of tennis as well. So attacking. I think it could be similar. I think Sinner on these courts will prefer it to the Indian Wells, and I think he's going to have to go after the Spaniard.
Well, he's ranked 11th is Sinner, so it won't be a top 10 clash, but it's certainly going to feel one. And it's going to feel like the future, as you mentioned. Alcaraz and Sinner coming out under the lights in Hard Rock Stadium to battle in the 2nd semifinal. That's again at 7 p.m. local time in Miami, 2300 GMT, wherever you are in the world, however you're watching. We hope you'll join us. Well, it got off to a good start. Semifinal number 1 did not disappoint between the good friends, Daniil Medvedev and Khachanov. It goes 3 sets, but it seems to be a continuing theme. Medvedev into his 5th final in a row. We'll see you in just over 3 hours for Alcaraz Sinner, Chapter 6.
Unbelievable. Carlos Alcaraz.
Esta es mi casa. This is my house. Dark skies and a 2-hour-plus rain delay can't dampen the spirit of Jannik Sinner as he's back to the Final Four.